anything but explicit. It's complex, subtle, and sometimes misleading, and I suggest that it's changing because in the years since my trip to Miami Beach, where I first puzzled over how we choose to quench our thirsts, real and metaphorical, that secret dialogue has gotten murkier than ever. Back then, the mechanics of marketing was a new subject for me. I was writing about advertising for the online magazine Slate, but strictly from a consumer point of view, treating ads more as an extension of pop culture than as a business. My reporting on Red Bull involved the first of what would become many examinations of product or brand success, looking at both the buyers and the sellers. And it turned out to be an interesting moment to start paying attention to the relationship between the commercial persuasion industry and the rest of us. Soon, the steady march of progress that had been reshaping media and technology for years broke into a sprint through the rapid rise of devices and innovations like TiVo, the iPod, increasingly sophisticated cell phones, YouTube, Facebook, and so on. The landscape seemed to be changing every day. By early 2004, I was writing about all of this on a weekly basis in a column for the New York Times Magazine called Consumed. As with my earlier commercial critiques for Slate, my perspective still tilted toward consumers, but I was paying a lot more attention to the commercial persuasion side of the dialogue, as well as to the marketing experts and consumer culture observers and what they had to say about what was changing. According to many of them, this new landscape not only had changed the commercial persuasion business, it had changed us. We consumers had become fundamentally different from prior generations. Pliable citizens of the old passive couch potato nation had taken in advertising like an order. After repeated exposure to a particular 30-second TV commercial, the consumer of the past would compliantly go out like an android and buy Downy, or whatever, as one new technology guru put it. But right around the turn of the 21st century, this line of thinking went, a new consumer had started to appear. By the time I started writing Consumed, this clever new creature had been armed with all kinds of dazzling technology, from ad-blocking gizmos to alternative grassroots media. This added up to what professional zeitgeist watchers like to call a paradigm shift. Consumers don't march in lockstep anymore, one celebrated trendmaster declared. We are immune to advertising, other experts announced. The mindless mass market had been shouldered aside by thinking individuals. Consumers are fleeing the mainstream. Somehow we had all become more or less impervious to marketing and brands and logos. We could see through commercial persuasion. It's as if the fundamentals of human cognition were getting rewired, upgraded, and replaced as quickly as the latest BlackBerry variation. The only problem with this theory was that it did not match up particularly well with the realities of the marketplace that I was writing about every week in the Times Magazine. That disconnect between the theories I was hearing and the behavior I was seeing is what led me to write this book. I have come to see the mythology of the new consumer as counterproductive, both for marketers and, more important, for the rest of us. I do think there is real change going on, and that it can affect everything from our sense of individuality to the way we define community and how we balance those notions. But if you really want to understand it, then you have to start by understanding what isn't going to change. This is the starting point in unraveling the secret dialogue between what we buy and who we are. The first section of this book, then, is about what I call the desire code. Cracking it involves a few steps. The first is figuring out why symbols matter to us, how meaningful symbols, logos included, get created, and how, even when we claim to be immune from such things, we often participate in that meaning creation ourselves. The second is understanding that in the 21st century, we still grapple with the eternal dilemma of wanting to feel like individuals and to feel as though we're part of something bigger than ourselves, and that most of all, we all seek ways to resolve this fundamental tension of modern life. The third is seeing how the desire, the need, to resolve that tension is at the heart of the stories we tell about ourselves. The fourth is coming to grips with who we are telling those stories to. And no, it's not about keeping up with the Joneses. New consumer notwithstanding, it remains a commonplace to complain that Americans are obsessed with consumption or shopping.